Hello, Internet, and thank you for joining me. So, Marvel just released a new Ironheart trailer. Yep, it's not good. Rant over. Boom, done. Alright, but in all seriousness here, there's a lot to this trailer that just makes me shake my fucking head. So I'm gonna rant about this podcast style, because I'm trying to get shit out right now. And also, I'm not re-recording that line so that I don't swear. We're just doing this completely unfiltered, no script, let's go. So, word around the water cooler about this is that no one really likes it, and, this was always going to be a terrible project. And that's most certainly true. The character is ill-conceived from the get-go, because they really wanted to make a female black Iron Man. And so they did. And no matter how shoehorned in that was, they just, they went and did it. Didn't give money to somebody that had like a vision for a character like this. Just, went full bore and said, we're going to corporate the fuck out of this shit. And corporate Marvel has. So I haven't read the comics as per usual. I'm just commentating on what I can see in the trailer. And from what I can see in the trailer, it's trying to spin off from her adventures or misadventures in Wakanda Forever. Now, for those of you that missed that movie entirely or have otherwise forgotten about it because they finally decided they were going to make something more forgettable than Ant-Man 2, it wasn't good. Just kind of meandered around until the movie just kind of ended. So that you're all caught up now. You know what? You're all caught up. So Riri Williams is going to be doing things with the Hood. Does that mean that we're going to get Mephisto? Probably not, because then they would have to acknowledge that they cribbed one more day for the plots of No Way Home. But that's a rant for another day. Now, if I'm being 100% honest, there's not a whole lot in this trailer to actually get pissed off about. But in itself, that's kind of rant-worthy, because it just means that Marvel have officially given up on this project before it was even released. Like, I'm willing to bet that they completely gave up on this during filming. They knew they had a stinker on their hands, so they have just, shit this out onto Disney Plus. The way that we're going to be able to tell is if they release it week to week or if they just dump it all at once. Because if they dump it all at once, they're going to try to just kind of shuffle this one under the couch. Maybe we'll pick it up on another day, specifically a doomsday. Because I've heard a lot of people speculating that they think that Riri Williams is going to be a big deal in the next Avengers movie, which, if I had any expectations left for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would be disappointed by this. I can't muster up any kind of emotion for this anymore. It's just so tired. Alright, on to the actual points why I felt like I needed to make a video on this. If you want more of a breakdown, then you can go to Drinker, or you can go to Open Bar, Mauler, Snarky J, whoever's making videos on this. I'm sure there's tons of people bitching about it. But the one thing that I just haven't heard people talk about that I feel like needs to be addressed here is that they already have the blueprints for a Riri Williams. They have Miles Morales. The idea that this character exists post-Spider-Verse in the sad, depressing state where she has just no character of her own other than, hey, I'm not Iron Man. Yeah, it's despicable. It's deplorable that we aren't giving these characters any background or depth or story of their own. We're just saying, oh, well, it's not this, which is what most of the behind-the-scenes things that I have seen have been. And in the post-Miles Morales world, there's really no excuse for that. We could give this character like her own story, but no, instead we're going to have another tech genius girl boss who is just going to be a copy of Ant-Man's daughter, whose name I can't even be bothered to fucking look up right now, or Shuri, because I actually remember her from, the first Black Panther movie. The one that wasn't a complete waste of my time. What I think bums me out the most about this particular property is that we have like good writers. There's obviously some kind of writing here that could be salvaged, but it's going to be drowned out by just the corporate guys huddling around and suffocating that unique voice. And the reason I feel like you can tell is because if you look at the trailer as a whole, there are several shots that are kind of inspired. There are several things that look like they could be good. It almost looks like for a second they're trying to make a Whistler and Blade type of dynamic happen with the whole live, laugh, love in the sketchy bunker looking thing. I mean, that could kind of work. I would love to see a friendship like that again on screen, but I just think it's going to be shoved out in order for us to, I don't know, complain about how she's a woman at MIT. That seems like it's going to be a big thing. They're totally going to push that. Even though, if you weren't aware, women have been at MIT for, God, ever. And the other thing that everyone else has pointed out, but you know what, it bears repeating, is that there's a lot of shade thrown at Tony Stark in the behind-the-scenes type of stuff that they've done, where they talk about how Tony Stark had it all, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. Tony Stark had a gun pointed at his head while he built that first Iron Man suit. So don't give me this shit. And it looks like you're being bankrolled by Anthony Ramos, who's going to be playing the Hood, which, I do want to give props for, digging deep into the Marvel lore to find the Hood. But also, I already know 100% they're going to fuck this up. He's supposed to be a villain, damn it. Really, that's been Marvel's problem since the very beginning. They haven't had very compelling villains. Sure, there's been like Loki and Thanos, and then a sea of a bunch of bullshit. And they kind of get it close with stuff like the Winter Soldier, but that's like a super complicated thing, and he's not really a bad guy. And I get that the Red Skull was a pretty alright villain, but he's not a multi-faceted villain. Like, he's not going to show up in more than one movie. And they really need to get over having just these disposable villains. Like, there's a reason in the comics that none of these fuckers die, right? It's so that next week we can get another comic of Spider-Man fighting Kingpin or Reptile or Venom or whoever the fuck he decides he's fighting. Really kind of curious to see how they are going to make these two heroes, quote-unquote, fight. Because it looks like the Hood is going to be bankrolling her for most of it. But I'm sure that, they're going to have some moral ambiguity, blah, 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 and it's not going to be Mephisto. That's really my point, is that I'm pissed that they're not going to have Mephisto, but they're going to tease it, and that's going to piss me off. Anyway, rant over here. So if you like this rant, go ahead and show me by leaving a like and subscribe, because that really will boost my channel. I'm trying to get my channel monetized now, so hopefully videos like this will help me out in the future. But until then, sayonara, bitches.